What up people, how's it going? This is Bharat here. Welcome back to yet another video. We got a very special guest for this video. I've got Afzal here. Afzal, hi, how's it going?
Hello, Bharat. Thank you so much for calling me in this video. I'm really glad that I got opportunity to work with you. And yeah, everything is fine here. What's up?
Yeah, so what I wanted to actually start off with this video is Afzal is actually a Flutter developer himself, and I wanted to bring him to this channel and talk more about Flutter. He has a much bigger channel than what we have right now, and he's also got a lot of interesting things to do. He has done a lot of interesting stuff. So we'll talk about more on about Flutter in particular and what are his ideas for the next upcoming years, and more importantly, what does Flutter do? Like, what is the future of Flutter? That's the important question you guys have been asking me. All of those questions are going to be answered. So with starting with Flutter, and how did you get started with Flutter, Afzal? So how did CodeX get started?
Yeah. So like starting with Flutter was not an easy journey, and I'll tell you from the beginning how it started. The CodeX channel. So basically, I'm a Xamarin developer myself. I develop cross-platform applications, and I started as a native developer, Android, iOS, and then when I had enough experience, I moved to Xamarin. Then other cross-platform I tried. So someone in my company, my colleague, he told me about the Flutter, and it's a Google product. So I just thought, let's try what is there inside. So initially I was in a situation like I was opposing Flutter because it's a cross-platform in a way that it doesn't use native at all. It is just wrapper around a view. So I thought, let's give it a try. If it works well, we can do that. So I started with animating some stuff, and it just worked fine for me. So I started creating tutorials for that, and from then I just keep on creating tutorials, and today we have like 7.5k subscribers. So that's my journey of starting Flutter.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Actually, I checked out few of your videos, and one of the most popular video in your channel is about the Flutter UI building. Like you did a live coding
Exactly.
of building a live view. So is Flutter just that? Is it more than that, or is it just about the UI portion alone? How do you see Flutter as a toolkit after having used it for more than 2 years now?
Exactly. So Flutter, if you see the definition from Google site itself, they call it as a UI framework.
Yeah.
So what we can take out of that is Flutter is meant to create a beautiful UI. And of course, like, because if you see the current scenario, like applications are getting so much the device is getting so much powerful, like the RAM and the speed and everything is there. So Flutter, what they did, they thought to create a beautiful UI using the power of the device, and rest are logic, because nowadays for everything there's a service, there's a REST APIs, microservices are there. So every computation part will be done on the server, and the user interface, the user experience should be better. So that's what Flutter targeted, and it's really going well. So you can say in a nutshell that it's more on the UI part. They focus more on the UI part, and behind the scene, like you can use a normal programming, and like you can just interact with some backend, and you can get your job done.
Awesome. So that's obviously what Flutter has been doing for the last 2 years. Like you see it being able to create faster prototypes more than the final product. Like, have you ever had an experience where you went ahead and created a final product, and what has that journey been like? Because my personal experience has been that whenever I try to move an application to production, like I've had a couple of applications in the Google App Store, I find that
Okay.
after some point of time it becomes really slow, and the production application has become a little bit of a problem. So what do you see?
Okay.
What do you see that in terms of production use? How do you see Flutter growing from here?
Okay. So first of all, I would like to highlight this point that still Flutter is evolving. Like
Yeah.
Flutter is not mature enough. So we cannot say that the production, the application goes slow. But of course, because they're still evolving, there's a lot of bugs. If you see their GitHub page, they have a lot of bugs to be fixed. And this is what they're doing right now. They're releasing build after build. And so we can say that they are becoming stable now. So coming forward, like going forward, it will become stable, but currently we can see it as experimental tool, and we can play around, we can see what are the features we get out of it. And I also have a couple of application on store, but it's a small application, so I cannot really say the performance thing. It worked just fine for me because it was just 1 or 2 pager application. But currently, which I'm working on, one of the project I'm working, it's a huge application, and I'm using GetX for state management and all those things, and it's just working fine as of now. So maybe we can see once it goes live, we'll see how the audience reacts.
Yeah, obviously. So that's pretty much what the entire thing has been. My journey has been about starting with Flutter as a experimental application and then going forward with it. I did do a couple of production application, after which Google decided to ban me from, because I was getting user data. So they decided to remove my application from the App Store, and that was another part of the journey. But with going with Flutter, like you said, there has been a lot of bugs, open bugs, which is still yet to be addressed.
Exactly.
And Google is definitely doing a good job about it. But again, Flutter is not just only for mobile, right? It's obviously for web, and it's also for desktop. How do you see that as a good marketing point, especially for new developers coming into the market? Like, how do you see that as a marketing point from Google?
Yeah, so talking about desktop and web support specifically, like they are trying to enlarge their product in terms of they're just not going to target mobile applications, so they want to target bigger audience. That's why they decided this. So this is what I came to know from their articles and this thing. But basically what roadmap they have, they want to target web also, they want to target desktop, Windows, and every single platform. And this is just to grow their audience, grow the developer community. And I'm not seeing like in recent future they will be having a stable release for web, because currently if you see the web is being in a beta phase for so long, and there's no plan till April of 2021 that they are going to make it a public like a stable version. So of course, yes, they are trying out a lot with their they are experimenting a lot with their new tools. So say it a web, say it a desktop, and they're trying with different operating system as well. Like they just released like couple of months back, they released the support for Linux and all those things. So what basically they're trying to do is cater a bigger audience. Like they are trying to showcase that yes, we are supporting all the platforms. From Linux also you can develop, from Windows, Mac, everywhere you can develop. So as a business, yes, they are trying a bigger audience, but of course they have to maintain their code as well, like their performance for each application as well. So that is something they have to take care. Yeah,
100%. So when we're just discussing about this, I was another developer who's also a Flutter developer. He was talking about how his transition from like another cross-platform or a native code to Flutter has been nothing short of like the initial amazement was there, but as he just went on with the Flutter, it just became just yet another cross-platform development tool.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
what exactly is your thought? Because you've been with Xamarin and you've now moved to Flutter. How exactly do you see that, like from a seasoned developer picking up Flutter versus a new developer picking up Flutter? How do you see that? How do you see that difference?
Yeah, exactly. So answering your first question, that Flutter lately they decided like to target different platforms. So this is common for all the cross-platform tools. Like if you take example of Xamarin, so when Xamarin started, they were just targeting Xamarin.Android and Xamarin.iOS, like a native approach. Then later they came up with forms approach, so you can write code once and run everywhere. So every platform out there, every tool out there, they try to just maximize their user base so that like more people can use that feature. So similarly, Google is also following the same path, but I really don't know the insiders, like how they have planned. But of course, this is their strategy about growing their audience, growing their developer community. And talking about switching from native development or choosing other like choosing Flutter over other platform is just like to try out what Google has to offer us. So if it's going to be good, like in this journey, if we found that okay, this is going to be our next technology, then of course we can stick with it. And if it's just like another hype, then we can just move around with other technology. But the good thing is like we should not get flow, like we should not be blown away with the flow, because everybody is learning Flutter. You should also learn Flutter. It's not the case. Native and the other cross platform which are already established, so that is already there, you can learn that. But Flutter is just good to know as of now, and once it's established, and if there's enough good job opportunities, of course you can take advantage of that.
All right, so you've talked about the Flutter as a toolkit and Flutter as a new platform just to try things out. So what exactly I see as part of my channel is that when I say that you have to learn something outside Flutter, like a native programming language, you got to move around. You cannot just be stuck with Flutter. People get so agitated. So what exactly is your thought on what is the suggestion essentially on where to go forward? If somebody starting with Flutter, what exactly do you think people should learn? Should they learn Python? Should they learn Java? Where do you think they should go forward with?
Yeah, of course, of course. So Flutter, if you take it as a mobile platform, so it's just good to try it out. If you're a new to programming world, if you're just college passed out or something, so you should just give it a try for the sake like how it works. But it's very important to learn how Android works, how Android architecture works in specific, how iOS thing works. So learning Java, learning Swift, this is very important. And you don't have to be master in Swift, you don't have to be master in Android, like everything you cannot master, but learning the core concept is very important to learn cross platform, because at the end of the day you are developing application for Android and iOS, right? So it's very important to learn how the life cycle is working, how Android application ships, how Android application works in actual. So that is very important. You don't have to just stick around Flutter and know only about the widgets. You should also know about the life cycle of Android, iOS, and all those stuff. It's good to have. And once you are master in that, you can easily pick up any cross-platform tool. So like I was previously a Xamarin developer, and now currently I'm developing Flutter, and the transition was very smooth. So first you have to focus on Android and iOS native platform, and that will become easy for you. And now if you talk about not being just like as a overall programming, so Flutter is going to just give you mobile application, website, and these things. But if you want to evolve in the programming world, you want to become a developer, so of course there's a lot of good technologies coming out. Like Python is becoming a next like language for people, like you can do AI stuff, and all those good things are there. Then machine learning, of course, and a lot of server technologies like Kafka and Spark. Those are things which you can learn as a programmer. So there's a lot of things to learn, of course.
Okay, so again, since you're talking about programming languages, I cannot skip a very important question. Flutter is
Yeah,
running
go ahead.
on Dart, so Dart is also a programming language. The history of
Exactly.
Dart again is that Google decided to scrap it 5 years ago. They decided to just hold it on for some time, just because it was not working well on the Chromium platform. That was the actual intention which they built Dart for. Now they've again brought it back.
Exactly.
They've again brought it back and put it inside Flutter. Like Flutter is running with Dart. How do you see Dart as a
Yeah.
programming language? Because it's a question that I've been asked a lot of times. I cannot answer that question, so I think you should be able to answer it.
Yeah. So see, this is a question actually someone from the Google team can answer, and I'm not that close to them. But of course, what I think personally is like if you take example of Java or other programming language which they have like Kotlin or something, so their syntax, maybe this may be the reason why they decided with the Dart, but it's just my assumption. The syntax over there is such a way that you cannot write your UI inside code behind. You have to write new keyword everywhere. You have to write a lot of things like there. It's very strict to write. So like all the exceptions and all those things you have to handle.
Yeah.
Whereas in Dart, it works with just minimalistic code. You write something without a new keyword, without specifying like everything. So maybe because of that reason, they thought of to go with the Dart language. And also Dart is an object-oriented language, and it's just for me to be specific, like for me, language doesn't matter that much. Either you write in Java or Dart, unless it's a AOT and JIT, it's going to work fine. It's just matter of learning the new language. But the question comes here, like what is the community and who already knows Dart? If you're stuck somewhere in the Dart, like if you want to sort some collection item, right?
Yeah.
So that documentation part is little less. It's not evolved that much. So Flutter, we have a lot of documentation, but on Dart side, the programming side language, we have very few documentation. So there you might face a little bit of difficulty. I think so.
Okay, so you started with Dart. Is it like did you start with Dart, or it was just a direct jump into Flutter and then knowing about it and learning about Dart?
Exactly. That's how it was. So I'm a C# developer, and
Okay.
I develop Xamarin application. So when I heard of Flutter, that time I heard there's a language called Dart as well. So if you're an experienced programmer, so switching language is not a big job. Like it's just matter, because even C# also, I don't remember syntax a lot. Like if I have to search some, like if I have to do code something, I just Google it how to do this, and immediately a suggestion will come. So transitioning between language is not a big deal for experienced programmer. So that's very easy, because everywhere the syntax is going to be like, syntax will be a little bit different, but the core concept will be same. So that's fine. But for new programmers who don't know like how to work with certain things, so for there, of course the problem is there, because there's no documentation lag is there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. That's actually what I was also talking about in a couple of my live streams, and
Hmm.
people were just
Yeah.
asking me, should I learn Flutter first? Should I learn Dart first? And that question is always going to be
Hmm.
there. Did chicken come first or did the egg come first? So it's always going to be
Yeah,
there,
exactly.
and people are always going to be confused about it. And obviously, now next question is about where to from here. How is Codex going to be going from here? And what exactly are your plans? And what exactly are you thinking about in terms of Flutter and the Flutter community?
Okay, that's a really nice question. And if you see my channel name, I didn't named in particular the Flutter channel, the Flutter way, or something like that.
Yeah.
I kept it generic CodeX. So my plan with my channel is like I want to cover a lot of thing other than Flutter, not just Flutter. So it says CodeX. You don't know what you have to like code in which language, but
Okay.
it's just code. So maybe tomorrow I'll do tutorials and videos on Java, Kotlin, Swift, or maybe other technologies like Python and all those things. I have planned to grow my channel and expand in that way. So yeah, that's my plan.
Awesome. So obviously going forward, the idea is to make a lot of tutorials and everything of that sort. But do you think
Yeah.
the current present generation, like people the current present generation, they consume the tutorials that much like we used to do like back then, like 5 years ago or 6 7 years
Mm-hmm.
ago? How
Mm-hmm.
do you think the tutorials are being consumed on the same way? It's just a generic question, nothing related to Flutter or anything of that sort. I just want to get pick
Yeah,
your
yeah,
brain
yeah,
on
of
that.
course. Yeah. So what I have seen the trend now, because people, the developers or maybe the college students, they have become so smart now. Like every resource is available on internet. So they want tutorial, but they want a short tutorial. Like because I have seen as per my videos analytics, if I create a 5 or 10 minute video, it goes really well. Like people watches a lot. If I create a 20-30 minutes tutorial or like maybe a live stream of 1 hour, so people don't have time to watch that. So of course, in terms of short tutorial, of course people need it, but long tutorials is a no, big no.
Yeah, that's actually true from my channel as well, and it's been that way since the last year and a half, where I've seen people consuming the shorter ones faster compared to the longer ones.
Exactly,
So yeah,
exactly.
that's
Even
pretty
if you
much
see the Flutter channel, they are releasing Flutter widget of the week in just 1 or
exactly
1.5 minute. Instead, they can do 10-minute tutorials on that, but they are trying to keep it short and simple. So that's how the trend is going.
awesome. So have you heard about the Flutter
Yeah.
GDE program that they have, and a lot of Flutter GDEs in India and across the world at the moment?
Yes.
Have you heard about the program? And if
Yeah. Yeah.
people are requested, or if people are interested in doing that, what exactly do you think is
Mm-hmm.
the community aspect that people have to contribute to?
Yeah. So like if you talk about GDE, Google Developer Expert, or Flutter GDE, anything, so basically that's not something you can do a course and become a GDE, right?
Yep.
You know that. So for that you have to contribute. Like you should be in a position to like people should recognize you. Basically that's the most important part. So you should be contributing in the projects. You should be contributing in the GitHub projects which are running, the packages which are running there. So a lot of places you have to show your presence. You have to participate in the Discord community, in the Flutter community. So the way forward is like you have to communicate with the other developers, and especially with the GDs. Like in India we have GD, MTech Viral, Pawan
Exactly.
Kumar, right?
Yeah.
So we have to communicate with those people. We have to get in touch with those people, not like spam them, hey I want to become GD, not like that way. But like you start commenting with them, like you start asking question to them, so they will recognize you. And if you ask valid question, so they will remember you. And that's how, if you show your contribution to the community, you create good tutorials, or you contribute to the GitHub projects, as I said. So that's a way going forward if you are targeting GDA or Flutter GDE, something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty much like how. So, if there is a new programmer in town, like this first time the college student who's starting to learn to code and everything of that sort, do you think app development as such is a good place to start, or should they work around other things at the moment, like web technology first, and maybe learn to code a software stack instead of an app development? How do you see the growth of app development from here? Because it's been an up and down
Mm-hmm.
journey. I'm not going to lie, it's been up and down journey. So how do you see that
Exactly.
in another 5 years time?
Fine. So If I talk about my college days, like when I was passing out, so that time website was in trend. To be honest, like everybody wanted to create a website for their final year project, or maybe like to demonstrate something. They wanted to have website. But nowadays, the shift has changed. Like everybody wants to create a mobile application, maybe Android and iOS, or maybe cross-platform application to showcase, or maybe as their final year project. So people, like students specifically, they want to try mobile application to like show it to your friends, show it to maybe college project and like that. So yes, mobile technology is becoming, and it's handy as well. Like you just create something, because if you talk about server, like if you talk about backend and those stuff, so there you cannot show your outcome to someone else, like this is a backend service. But in mobile application, you create something, you show it to others, so it becomes like a little bit of the attractive point. So you can create something and you can show it to the world. So that's why people are now going forward. Like I got a lot of requests as well from students to create their final year project, but because of my busy schedule, I was not able to do so. Of course,
that's pretty
people
much
are
how-
like, yeah.
Yeah, they go crazy. They want us to build everything for them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Awesome.
I sometime I get a request on my YouTube, in the video comment, I get request how to do this Bluetooth connectivity and all those stuff. So like, come on, that's the entire project you're asking me in a tutorial. That's not at all possible.
Yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah.
how it every tutorial goes. Thanks so much for joining
Yeah,
me, Afzal.
exactly.
It's been a pleasure to have you with me. Lot of things that
All
we
pleasure
discussed.
is mine.
Yeah, we discussed a lot of
Yeah.
stuff on Flutter. I look forward to a lot of new tutorials on your channel and discussing more about programming in the months to come. I think it's been a wonderful
Sure.
session that we had. Looking forward to even more sessions, Afzal. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Bharat. It's really being nice talking to you and connecting over like YouTube. So it's really good a platform to talk and share our knowledge. Thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate. And of course, yes, we can do more videos in future. Like it depends on how our audience reacts. Like whether
Yeah.
they want to know more about Flutter, whether they want to know more about the technology stack, and of course, we can take it forward.
Yeah, so definitely everybody check Afzal channel. I've put it in the description. Do not forget to check him out, and also yeah, also to comment on what you want exactly to know more about, especially with Flutter. There has been a mix of audience asking about Flutter. There's been other mix of
Exactly.
audience asking me about other stuff. So just definitely put that out in the comment section, and we'll discuss more about it in the coming months. I'm looking forward to all the discussion. Thank you so much for joining me, Afzal, and thank you so much, guys. Let me meet you in the next video. Until then, it's Bharat. Peace out. Have a super awesome day.